In the small, quiet town of Villisca, Iowa, the morning of June 10, 1912 seemed ordinary. Birds sang, the sun rose over the neat houses along the streets, and the townsfolk went about their routines. Yet the Moore family home at the corner of 6th and Jackson sat unnervingly silent. Inside lived Josiah and Sarah Moore, their 4 children, Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and little Paul, and that night 2 young friends, Ina and Lena Stillinger, had stayed over after a church program. By mid-morning, neighbors grew uneasy. No laughter of children floated from the yard. No movement from the adults. Concern turned to suspicion, and eventually someone entered the house. What they found would horrify the town for generations. 8 bodies lay inside, brutally murdered. Josiah and Sarah, the parents, had been struck down in their bed. Their children had not escaped. Even the 2 young friends were killed, their heads covered with cloth, as if to shield them from the eyes of the world. The weapon was an axe, wielded with a ferocity that splintered ceilings, marked walls, and left pools of blood across the rooms. The scene suggested something more than murder. It suggested ritual. Mirrors and windows had been covered. Curtains were drawn. The house was unnervingly dark despite the bright morning sun outside. Yet the killer had lingered, moving through the rooms after the slaughter. A plate of food sat half-eaten in the kitchen. Bloody water remained in a bowl, as though the murderer had washed his hands. Cigarette butts were found in the attic, suggesting he may have hidden there for hours before vanishing without a trace. The town of Villisca was gripped by terror. Who could commit such a crime? Suspects were many: a traveling preacher with violent tendencies, neighbors with grudges, even family acquaintances. Investigators worked tirelessly, questioning dozens of people, but the killer was never found. The case went cold, leaving a permanent scar on the town's history and on the American conscience. The Moore home did not rest quietly afterward. Over the decades, reports of paranormal activity grew. Visitors who spent the night claimed to hear footsteps in empty hallways, whispers drifting through the rooms, and the laughter of children echoing in spaces long devoid of life. Some felt an oppressive weight on their chests at night, as though the horrors of that night lingered in the very air. Others swore they glimpsed a shadowy figure carrying an axe moving through the rooms, vanishing whenever they tried to confront it. Even today, the house stands. Its presence is a grim reminder of that fateful night when 8 innocent lives were extinguished. Hinterkaifeck may be remembered in Germany, but Villisca remains one of America's most chilling unsolved murders. The massacre was not a legend, it was real. And the killer was never caught. The walls of that house still remember, whispering the terror to anyone who dares to enter.